If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
Have you ever been in a situation where you found yourself in a domestic violence relationship? Do you know the difference between a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy one? We speak about that tonight as we talk about domestic violence versus healthy relationships. Stay tuned as we discuss this topic and more on the next episode of The Real Girlfriends Across America.
Good evening, I'm Corrine McCabe, also known as Kay, and I am hosting the call tonight for Real Girlfriends Across America. We are a company that has a foundation and mission to build lifelong friendships with women across the globe. We will be bringing you hot topics each night, and we are always on the lookout for new topics. Follow us on Facebook at Real Girlfriends Across America and head to our website at realgirlfriends.org. Tonight I have on the call with me Corinne, Tawanda, Annie, and a host of other girls. You guys check in, say hello. How are you guys doing?
We're doing amazing.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, and today our topic is something really serious and very painful. We're going to be discussing domestic violence versus healthy relationships. So before we get started, I want you guys to think about a question. Have you ever experienced a violent relationship? And if you haven't experienced a physically violent relationship, have you ever experienced a relationship where somebody was emotionally abusive to you or psychologically? How did you handle those situations? So I'm going to give my own experience first. When I was married, my husband and I would get into, arguments, right? And I think this started out, and I don't know if anybody else has experienced, I want to check in with you guys to see if you guys have too, but at first we started out sort of like play fighting each other, right? Like, oh, I push you, you push me, he, ha, ha, ha. And then after a while, when we would get mad, that playful pushing would become just a little bit too serious. So I wonder if any of you guys have experienced that, like that playful fight that, might have gone too far. Anybody want to speak on that?
This is me. I was in a situation, and I'm not going to get into details about who and what, where, whatever, where it started off, I guess, with playful fighting. And I'm anyone because if you hit me wrong, I'm going to hit you back, and it's going to be 10 times harder than how you hit me. So my ex wanted to always play fight, and I felt like it was going to a direction where it could have turned different, but it never did. And it was one incident where his family member was there and thought that we were in a domestic relationship just because how he reacted when he wanted to talk to me. And I wasn't trying to have a conversation in front of his family member.
Yeah. So, how did you prevent it from going further than it did? Like, was there anything that you did in particular? Like, how did you cut it short? Like, what happened?
I mean, I broke up with them. I left the relationship. I mean, I I can be just as violent, so I wouldn't want to be in a relationship where I feel like someone would want to pull that out of me. So when I
Right.
seen that happen, I kind of like wanted to remove myself from the situation.
So you left the relationship because of that.
Yeah, that was one of many things. But yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Anybody else?
Hi, this is Tawanda. No, I don't have a personal story that I could share about a situation like that.
Do you know of anybody?
Oh yeah, of course. I've had a couple of different situations. I've had a young lady I used to work with that was in a domestic situation to where me and another coworker helped her to get out of it because we felt eventually he would kill her. I've had a good friend of mine actually get murdered from a domestic situation that had been going on for many years with her boyfriend. And I even had a friend one time that I was at her house, and we knew that her boyfriend would fight her, and he happened to do it one night while he came in. We were there. He called in the room. They were talking. He started slapping her around, and we got involved. But because we were there, and our thing was after he finished beating her, he might come for us. Like we got to do something about this. And was really a bad situation, and it got really, really horrible, really ugly. Of course, the police were called, and then a week later, she was back with him again. So, yeah, I've unfortunately been in several encounters with friends and associates that's been in domestic situations, which affected them and affected the friendships.
Mhm. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is
This
Annie.
is Amanda.
Oh,
Go
oh,
ahead,
go ahead,
Annie.
Amanda. Oh, okay. So yeah, I was waiting a little bit. I'm just one of those women who repeatedly got stuck in domestic abuse situations. I've been on the receiving end of a narcissistic husband who was physically and emotionally abusive. After 12 years, I finally left that, and then my second big one, he got involved with drugs, and that's what caused him to become very violent, and had to kick him out. So my biological mother is an alcoholic, and I don't really speak to her anymore. She was very abusive when I was a kid, so it was just something I guess I was used to, and all those things that they say are true that you don't realize you seek it out, but you somehow seek it out in a weird way. But the good part is that the past 5 years of my life I've been getting away from all of that and realizing my worth.
Mhm.
This is Amanda.
Amanda.
Most of my experience has been with emotional abuse and controlling. With my previous marriage, there were a couple of times that it got physical, but I'm convinced I struggle with mental health issues, and I'm convinced that he could try and control me, that he would while I was in the psychiatric hospitals, he'd be like the hero and be like, look at me, I'm bringing you pillows and snacks, and yay, I'm the hero. And then he would try and get me out, and then he would figure out that he couldn't control me, so then he would push all of the right buttons to get me back into another hospitalization, and then he would look like the hero again.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So there are different types of domestic violence, right? And I think that a lot of women experience some of them, if not all of them. There's emotional abuse, there's psychological abuse, and there's physical abuse. Now, emotional abuse might be he's constantly insulting you, he's constantly putting you down or trying to embarrass you or trying to control everything you do, who you talk to, where you go. So those are ways that he might emotionally and psychologically abuse you. And this happens to many, many women. Have any of you ever experienced purely the emotional abuse?
Yeah, this is I dealt with emotional abuse where no one's gonna want you after I left their relationship, and this is a different ex. He was never physical, but yeah, he would say like nobody's gonna want you, you're not that cute, stuff like that.
Some other ways that there could be abuse in the relationship, and some people, I don't know if people really realize that if you are, especially if you're married, you have a responsibility to your husband or to your wife or to your spouse, whoever you're married to. If you are the one making the money in the relationship, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm not going to give you food for or money for food." Like, I'm not giving you grocery money. Like that, you can't do that. That's actually an illegal abuse, and a lot of people don't know that. If the person that you're with is controlling all of the money in the relationship, they take your money or your social security check, make you ask for money or refuse to give you money, and this again is if you are in a marital relationship or a legal some type of legal partnership or relationship. If they are doing these things to you, like it's wrong, it's illegal, and you do have the right to food, to shelter, to clothing, and most people don't realize that that is abuse. In my own marriage, there were times when I would have to go and beg my friends and family for food money. Sometimes it would get that bad. I would have to go and, can I just have $50 so I can buy my kids some formula, please? So a lot of people don't know that that is a form of abuse too. Have you guys ever gone through situations where you didn't have enough for yourself because of the person that you were with?
Oh yes, absolutely. This one of my relationships was it involved all of the abuse that possibly could involve, emotional, psychological. I worked 2 jobs and I was going to college at the time, and all of my student loan money was taken, and I ended up with like $260,000 in debt. It's taken me years to get that down to a lot less. And I didn't even end up finishing college because I ran out of student loan money. But it was used for many other things, and I still would go and was forced to go get Medicaid and food stamps because I had to feed the kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
So I'm going to continue on. So I think that it's really important for us to understand what domestic violence is so that we can recognize it when it happens. Do you guys know what emotional, psychological, and physical abuse looks like? Tell me what your ideas of those things are. Who would like to go first? Corinne, you go first.
I think that emotional and physical abuse consists of anything that someone is doing just to put you down, to harm you, to make you feel less than.
Mm-hmm. Amanda, what about you? Annie, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Amanda, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Amanda.
I didn't hear the question. I apologize.
Mhm. What do you think emotional, psychological, or physical abuse looks like?
Oh gosh. Well, I think that physical abuse is obviously physical, and I think psychological and emotional abuse is pretty close together. And I honestly am not even 100% sure what the difference between the two is.
Mhm. Mhm. So psychological abuse would be something like, for example, say
the mind games.
Yeah, thank you. Mind games. That's exactly what it is. So say, for example,
Yeah,
you two have children.